and then we'll take a short break. Tim, if you don't mind fielding this question first again. You may already know that a task force is recommending a new stormwater program, which would total just over $2 million annually. And the proposal, there are several proposals, but one is to fund it through a mix of septic fees, property taxes, vehicle license fees, and stormwater utility rates. Would you support such a program, and would you vote for additional taxes or fees to fund it?
I've never believed that you raised taxes during a recession. President Kennedy didn't do that, and it worked out pretty well for our country then. When you look at this stormwater rules, read them carefully. It says that counties really over 100,000 are in a particular category. We're well under 100,000. We don't have any cities that are anywhere near that big. I think we can use our public works existing monies for doing projects like we've done in Belfair for stormwater and other projects here in the city of Shelton, which certainly will satisfy the state. We don't have a massive stormwater problem in Mason County. We have a lot of timberland that absorbs moisture. We have a lot of bays and rivers and obviously inlets that do it naturally. But I don't want to see us overreact to state regulations. We have to take it easy and try to do it the right way so that we don't overregulate business and that we obviously keep business here.
I agree that we don't have to overreact, but I think that one of the biggest problems we've had in the past is, as commissioners, we're not fully engaged in these processes. I am not completely familiar with this, but I have sat in on a work group that dealt with water quality issues, and I think we do have some serious problems here and there. So I would definitely want to take a strong look at it. As a taxpayer, I pay quite a bit in taxes, and I am not opposed to paying more taxes if it's spent wisely, and I would be very cautious about anything that reduce raise taxes for.
I believe that we can have a stormwater issue here. If you remember December 3rd of 2007, I believe the whole to-do end was on the news almost daily, and I know that Mason County Department of Community Development made over 600 site investigations due to stormwater damage, and I know that there was a home that had a slide above it that a gentleman passed away in. So there are stormwater issues. That being said, though, I worked on the stormwater committee up at Public Works once a week for a year, and it's like, okay, come on, let's do something. They were doing nothing, they were just talking about it. And I don't operate that way. I think you start something and you get to doing it, but each parcel shouldn't be looked at the same. There's parcels out there that don't create any damage, and there's actually a county ordinance, well, it may not be an ordinance, but it actually requires the parcel owner to maintain their stormwater on their property. It can be handled fairly simple. We just got to start.
A lot of good comments here. Yeah, I personally don't support raising taxes at all. It takes away from our entire economy, takes away from the people being able to spend their money in this community, and it does not benefit anybody raising taxes. There has to be another way, and I say bringing in more revenue is probably our best option. Yeah, if the stormwater issues, and they need to be looked at, like Mark said, each individually. If they are there, then we need to deal with them in a proper manner. But again, raising taxes is going to just hurt our economy and hurt everybody at this time, so I would not agree with that.
You know, I called our Department of Environmental Health asking, what is the problem? What is our main source of the problem here? And I could not get a straight answer. And sometimes I feel like the science needs to catch up to the policy. I agree with Commissioner Sheldon that perhaps the policy around stormwater management was written for a different type of community. Till we know what we're trying to achieve here, I think we need to key back and identify how can we best address that problem. But if I can't get a straight answer from our environmental health department about what is the problem, I'm not willing to start charging taxes to fix a problem we don't really know what the reason is.
Well, I have personally worked on stormwater plans. Allen, UGA, Belfair, UGA, and also the Hoodsport area. biggest polluters, stormwater, are highways, the runoff from the highways. But also, the road tax that unincorporated Mason County pays, some of that money could go towards stormwater management, but not everybody lives in UGA and all this, but I'd kind of like to see more rain gardens and have the property owners receive some kind of incentive for building and maintaining the rain garden.
Joan and I are currently building a brand new house, so we got to go through the building permit process and see how all that works. And one big component that we had to go through was counting up all the impervious surfaces, all the square feet in the driveway, and show the drainage, and deal with the stormwater. It was a big part of this permit that stormwater has to be addressed, and it has to stay on site and infiltrate back in. So I think we have a good system going as far as individual houses. Ross is correct when he says that roads are the biggest contributor to stormwater. They gather it and they concentrate it. And it's the concentrated flows that are the real problem for us. I know that Mason County on all their new projects is very carefully weighing stormwater issues and working to retain it. We need to expand that and retrofit some of our older roads so that it too will work that way. Thank you.
Well, my house is completed. We just built a new house about 1.5 years ago. And just to let the county know, we had a wonderful time working with the county in the permit process. Absolutely no glitches whatsoever. If the stormwater comes into effect, there shouldn't be any new taxes at all. That's what we've already paid for. Everybody here has already paid their fair share of taxes. This is something that is going to be into the future. We do have an $8 million surplus in our budget right now. So I really don't understand what the problem is as far as funding goes. If we have to search out and find another revenue, then we'll do that. But I think if we do have to do this, we'll be just fine. I don't think we have to worry about it. Take it on a one-on-one basis and call it good.
There's a lot of good points made up here. I think Senator Sheldon up there made a pretty good point that the state legislature said that it's only, the population only has to be 100,000 plus, and we're only around 60. And this is the type of knee-jerk reactions we keep having to state law and federal law, and we just want to have this ability to just comply right away when we didn't really need it in the first place. We don't need to raise taxes. I don't believe in raising taxes. You should keep as much as your hard-earned money as you possibly make, and then the only one that could create your own prosperity is you and not government. You spending your own money creates your own prosperity. And that's the only true free market stimulus package that there is. Also, yes, that's right, the roads are the major contributor, and but also, again, we have to look at each individual separately. We got to look at our priorities. Where our priorities lay? Is stormwater a priority? And do we have the money? That could be seen later. But you know, we got to start looking at priorities.
Well, when I began to explore the issues that are associated with county government, one of them was the upcoming emphasis that is being placed on stormwater management. And there are a couple of things I want to say about it. First of all, there is no program in the county at the moment with Olympic College, which I think there should be, to train people in the whole management of stormwater. I think we could have an associate degree in stormwater management that would help us move through this period of developing our stormwater capacity. The other thing is I joined a colleague of mine who is with the Kitsap Home Builders Association, and they've been doing low impact development, which is stormwater management, for quite some time. And I think the important thing to understand from their experience is that doing the job of creating a stormwater managed residence, for example, in the long term increases the value of the property.
Once again, I'm a port commissioner for the Port of Allen, and the Washington Port Association puts on a lot of workshops. And I take in as many of them as I possibly can. I try to learn as much as I can and bring it back to my community. Tim is right, 100,000, but guess what, folks? It's coming whether you like it or not. It's 100,000 today, but tomorrow it's gonna be less. They're telling us that at the ports. We're having to prepare for it. You know, they're already working real hard to regulate water and rain barrels. What makes you think they're not coming at us? Now, the thing we have to bear in mind and remember, though, is there is monies out there available. We don't have to do taxation. There are monies available that we need to use them for the right purpose. I went and attended a meeting up in Mason County last year where there was a meeting paid for by grants asking us what we can do for our stormwater situation so we can go after more money for more grants. That's not how you spend your money. We have REIT funds, real estate excise tax that's supposed to go to infrastructure like 09 monies, but instead we're spending that infrastructure money on maintaining and operating the parks. We have to do the right thing with the money we have, or we won't have an issue.